But wait, the 116? 17. 17. Where were you going? 7.
So you were out by 2. I don't know. I was behind that 2 hours. Like out in that shade.
Song, man.
That's a water place. I would have had at least 7 out of 9.
Are you picking up 3 word nights?
They'll be in the camper.
Okay.
May is mental health. May is mental health awareness month. It's a month designated to remind us that many of us fight battles that we think we're not in a position to do. Unfortunately, many of us don't need to be reminded that there are days when we just can't get out of bed and anxiety is so heavy on our chest that it's hard to breathe. When the days are long and grueling and seemingly non-ending, remember there are many people that share your experience. I'm your boy MG, super producer Jake, and our guest today, licensed mental health counselor, Ms. Brittany Miller.
Hello.
And we have 3 sponsors for today's show. One of our most important shows. So I thought it was fitting that we have 3 sponsors. We have Noti and Sons Lawn and Irrigation. Contact them for your free quote. They have the lawn looking nice and good. Yeah, mine looks really good right now. West Body Market, your local source, your source for local beef, chicken, lamb, bison. What else they have? Jay? Pork,
Beef sticks,
beef sticks.
ranch dressing.
Oh, they have a little bit of everything in there.
My buddy Ben sells coasters and a bottle openers from
Yeah.
Chips company. He has cutlery board.
And he has that in there. That's right,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a lot of freezers.
And Iowa Cleanouts, veteran owned and operated. Demolition and cleanout specialists. Miss Brittany Miller, back with us. You heard her on our show before. I know it's customary before the start of every show we do a shot. Today this show is a little bit different, so we're not going to do that. Those who look forward to us getting drunk on this show, this probably be a little bit different show, which is a-okay. So Brittany, give us a little bit, for those who didn't listen to us last year, give us a little bit of your background.
Yeah, so I have a master's degree in licensed adult counseling. I have done a little bit of everything from substance abuse, underprivileged kids, and I currently work in individual therapy to seeing clients online.
And where do you work at?
Therapeutic counseling here in Ankeny and in Ames, serving both communities.
So, what got you into mental health counseling? And excuse the cough. Jake's a trooper. He's a little bit sick, and he still showed up. So what got you initially interested in mental health counseling?
So I kind of wanted to do it my whole life. When I was a little kid, my parents always said that I wanted to be a social worker, and I would save elderly kids in bad homes. So,
And that drew you to social work, right?
yeah, so like I said, my path has been very diverse. I started once I got an undergrad degree in helping kids who were in foster homes, shelters, their parents were incarcerated. Then I worked in substance abuse as a residential treatment center. I was a social worker for Medicaid for 5 years, and now I'm just
Individual therapy. When you say individual therapy, not couples, people that are in relationships come to you one by one basis, right? Hold on, let me preface this. Brittany is one of my good friends. That's how I'm able to get her on this podcast over and over. But she doesn't treat me, but we do have sidebar conversations. She can't treat me because we're close friends and we've had drinks together, but we have sidebar conversations, and she's gave me some of the best advice that I possibly could have given. Even though she pisses me off sometimes, that's an incredible person, and that's why we like having her on this show. What was the question I asked before that? Before I interrupted
I
you?
only see individuals, which I am certified in couples, so I do see couples as well. But it's private setting, so like I don't work for a large company. It's a small company. We just see people in the office.
Yeah. So as we get into this thing, and I think this whole next hour will probably be geared around mental health, unless we veer off into something stupid like we always do. Yeah, Jake is shaking his head. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Like mental health is one of my favorite episodes that we do once a quarter. You know, because it's so important and it's just not talked about. And as an African American male, we are not encouraged to talk about it. So speaking, we'll get into that a little bit. But what is your definition of mental health? You knew this question was coming up.
I did. Mental health is very multifaceted. It looks different for a lot of people. It's mostly based in trauma you probably experienced in childhood, and then a lot of my clients will working on how that shows up in adulthood. Mental health can be from anxiety to schizophrenia, a wide spectrum, and we treat them all. A lot of things also that we will practice in therapy, and it just depends on where you're at in that spectrum.
Okay, Jake, do you have a question for Miss Brittany? After he's done coffee.
Yeah. So, what's like? I can't really people like dealing with change. What's like some of the best advice you give them? People that are stubborn, stuck in their ways. What's like your best advice for them? Yeah.
So usually we dig into what is the function of that behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And so why do you struggle to change? Is what you're doing working for you, or are you looking for change? So like in addiction, bad addiction is obviously really hard to overcome. So it's about what have you experienced, what have you been through, that feels like your only option.
Keep peeling back an onion, breaking down layers, conversations, getting talking.
I like those parfait.
Shit, you haven't had one onion from my crawfish boils. No, you know, to your point, I heard a quote this weekend. Not probably heard it before, but things will never change if things don't change. I never really, even if I heard it, I never really took it into perspective. And I never just, man, that shit hit home. That shit hit home.
Which is something we discuss in therapy because you can come to therapy and you can practice those skills, but if you don't go out into your daily life and nothing's changing, you come to therapy for more reasons, but you don't go out there and do the things that we talk about to try to change your mindset, which is not easy. I will give you that. But if you don't change anything, nothing in your life is changing. And people do come back and they say, well, I've been going to therapy for 2 months and my life's the same. And so you have to reassess. What are you doing different in your daily life?
So it's that the person needs to do their part on the home front, right? They need to do what you give them homework to do. I imagine if I came to you, the homework that you would give me, like, I think you almost probably purposely flunked me. No, I'm just kidding.
Nobody fails therapy.
That's a great point. That is a great point. Like, if I'm a person that's seeking therapy, what should I expect if it's my first time doing therapy?
So the first session, you probably won't feel like you gain a lot. Some people say they feel really good after their first session. Some don't because it's an intake. So I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions. And sometimes you'll have more time to kind of express your concerns on what brought you there. But overall, if you continue therapy, expect to not feel great, actually, because you're coming and you're talking about the hardest, saddest things in your life. And so you're probably not going to always walk out feeling refreshed. It can be exhausting. It's emotionally draining. But with time, it gets better. You'll learn skills. You'll be more confident.
And I am digging your shirt today.
And the bling on the wrist.
And the
She's got some bling going.
Yeah. Oh, her shirt says, okay, but have you tried therapy? So tell us, like, why is therapy and mental health important?
I think a lot of people think that they can just do it on their own, and they try, and it works for some people if they have really good support systems, but a lot of people don't have the space to express what they've been through. It's not validated. They don't have a good support system. Their home life is not. They're like walking back into a battlefield every day. And so to have that space where you can express those things going on without being judged or having someone provide your opinion, and you can hear voices that actually help you get to the version of yourself.
So before I let Jake get into the question, after he coughed his lung up, as a therapist, do you seek mental health help?
I do. For a couple reasons. I don't have like this magic barrier that because I'm a therapist that I don't struggle, that life is also not ever or always easy for me. I say every therapist needs a therapist because we hear and see things that other people don't. And it's important to normalize just that we all go through it and that it's okay to seek help. I think there's a big judgment, like you said, for African American men, for actually a lot of men of cultures outside of just like white male to say that I go to therapy.
It's like, just in my experience, right, as African American male, seek help. And you almost get ridiculed for it, right? By, I wouldn't even say people that's close to you, because the people that's going to ridicule you for seeking help, they're not really close to you. Right? I would classify them as associates and not friends. But it's so hard to break years and years of a cycle where you are criticized for seeking help. Like you get told so often, especially, just imagine you're an African American male that's an athlete, right? You're told to push through. Keep going, man. You bigger than this shit. You know, be stronger than this. You'll be all right. Like I've seen it. I've heard it. I've experienced it because you know people view you as someone that is bigger than whatever you've gone through, so they don't want you to see that, which is mentally fucked up. So many men, not just African American men, but men in general, it's fucked up so many men's mental because they're the ones that have to be strong and they will not reach out for help. How would you address that? So you have male clients that come in and they've had things that's built up for so long, right? And they may be reluctant to open up to you. Are those the type of cases that's like the hardest to deal with?
I wouldn't say that they're the hardest. The hardest are people who come in and say, I don't know, I'm not sure. I haven't thought about that. And so it's really about slowing them down. Just like allowing them to sit with it because we're so fast to react. I don't know, which is avoiding. And so allowing them to sit with it. And for men, I haven't experienced a lot of men who come in and don't know what they want to work on because most likely they've thought long and hard about this before they actually take the step to come. And so it's just allowing them that space without judgment, without bias. And usually it goes back to childhood. It was normalized that you're weak or boys don't cry, things like that, or you have to stand up for yourself. And so it's just about holding that space with them and letting them know that just because they're of male gender doesn't negate them from really hard things, because they also go through really hard things, and that you still get to be validated in what you've experienced.
Right.
That doesn't change that.
Okay. Well, a little side note for me, when I was growing up, school was tough. I struggled. I was greedy. I just wanted to be really fast and everything, go through it. When I was in 5th grade, I was scared of my teacher. She was an old battle axe. But if I could call her that. But that was a long time ago. But it got to the point where I had to go to counseling for like 6 months because I would just block her out of school. And I was pretty much failing 5th grade. And my parents were worried, some family members were worried. So I got into counseling. And that helped me, and my parents too, and just kind of get everything out in the open. So after that, kind of reached out and kind of got everything in the process. It got better. We got some new, better group of friends, people, your surroundings and all that. So counseling helped, and school got better towards the end of the 5th grade year. I couldn't wait till it was over.
So what made y'all get to the point where you decided to seek counseling? Did you just didn't want to go no more?
I didn't want to go to school. I was just fed up with it. Didn't want to face that teacher. And she scared the crap out of me. So my parents knew because I would come home and have to reteach me my homework. And I just didn't want to go. And just kind of... I didn't find that because I almost didn't go to school one day, and they were like, "Okay, we gotta reach out."
Yeah. I mean, and that kudos to your parents for recognizing signs that something's not right. So, there are a lot of parents that will probably ignore it, thinking that it's just a kid being a kid, just don't want to go to school. So kudos to your parents for recognizing and taking action.
So things got better, but everything's perfect. So
And then I
I
think
can't
we,
believe what you're talking about.
yeah, I think we would be dumb to think that we go through life thinking everything's gonna be perfect. I mean, it's an unrealistic expectation. I want to be perfect, and I know it's a goal that I will achieve. But I think it's really, really dumb for us to go through life thinking that every day is gonna be perfect.
People keep things close to chest.
Chest,
They got
yeah.
that pride. You know, they can't let everything out. So
Yes.
really,
And
yeah.
that comes up a lot. Therapy, perfectionism, ego.
Imagine having to find that meter with the biggest ego as I have. You know me for years. Hey, don't you answer that. That was a setup. I wanted to see if she was
teeing it
actually
up
gonna.
for us.
Yeah, no, I wanted to see if she was gonna actually
We're
answer.
about to have a small session.
Oh, hey. So one of the things that you hear, one of the terms that you hear, probably in your community a lot right now is people suffering with anxiety, right? Some of the coping mechanisms. What are some of the coping mechanisms for anxiety or feeling overwhelmed?
Some of the coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that simple. It's like naming them, right?
Right.
So it's about where is the anxiety? Is it situational? Is it just about everything? So perfectionism is part of it, right? We want to show up perfect in the world, and social media certainly doesn't help.
Right.
And so we're constantly anxious. We have to keep up. We have to always have our calendar full. We have to have so many friends. We have to have the best things. And so it's about moving into what are my values? What do I really value about life? What do I look for in my peers, my support group? Am I living into my values, or am I just trying to show up the way that I think the world needs me to show up for them? Do I have good boundaries? And so it's a lot about looking into those things, and then how can we make goals and put those into action. And a lot of it will go back to most likely childhood. And where did that thought that I have to perform for people come from? And so when we're breaking all those things down, it will help ease your anxiety. But again, we can explore those things in session, but it's about how am I going to show up different in my daily life.
I got a question. I hope it don't stump you. Can you prevent mental health problems? I'll tell you my thoughts as a
Okay.
non-professional. I think that we can all suffer from some form of mental health issue, but it's what do we do to prevent them from getting serious, right? Whether it's meditation or seeking counseling before it gets out of hand, or slapping Jake upside the head. And that's probably not the correct action, but that's not the but I'm saying, like people think that it's preventable. I personally don't think that mental health issues are preventable. I think that when they arise, you do things to keep it from becoming serious. And that's just, I could be totally off base with that, being a professional. That's just the way it's
No, that's a fair assessment. I mean, we live inside our head every day, right? So to think that we're not ever going to struggle is very unrealistic.
It's kind of like
So-
shoulda, woulda, coulda. No one's perfect.
Right.
Right. And so, like I said, mental health is a spectrum. So you could be like very minimal. It's hard to believe that nobody has ever struggled, right?
Right.
Or maybe they gained skills.
Yeah, some people are more resilient than others. I totally get that. So what, Jake, I'm gonna ask both of you this question. What do you guys think causes mental health problems?
I think stress. Just overthinking, anxiety. It's, the perfection. People that try to be really perfect, like materialistic things. That's just kind of what I see like working in a restaurant sometimes. I'm a people watcher, so I also wanted to sometimes I'm gonna bite my tongue. Sometimes I don't. So, I can get really direct really fast. Sometimes I just gotta take a step back and say, I'm not in those shoes. What was the question again?
What causes mental health problems?
I mean,
That's.
I always think back to 2020.
Oh yeah.
During COVID, people were like freaking out. I'm sure Brittany can attest to it. I mean, I'm sure she was book solid. But people were just, it was a new normal stuff. I think people just didn't know how to handle it, like with the mental health stuff. And it's came a long way in this 4 years, it seems. It's hard to believe.
I think it's come a long way because you have more advocates on mental health
Yeah.
of getting help.
More advocates, like,
Yeah. Like even if I think that, don't get me wrong, I think there's resources about everywhere. But you see like celebrities and shit like advocating for it now. Like, athletes coming out and people that get paid millions of dollars a year, and they letting the world know that some days I'm not good, so I seek help. Look at the numerous basketball players, football players that just recently, within the last 3-4 years, they came out and was like, hey, look, I suffer with this. They're making hundreds of millions of dollars. So you look at the psychological factors, the biological factors, all that stuff that that may cause mental health issues. We're not immune to that. No matter what your profession is. Whether you work in a restaurant, whether you work in banking, even if you're working as a counselor, you're not immune to it. Right?
Surround yourself with good people. Just keep your surroundings. I mean, just keep your circle, kind of like Meeting Parents movie, your circle of trust. I just think of that.
But, surround yourself with people that understand if you're having an off day. Right, who will understand what you're going through and not pass that judgment.
Yeah.
So you said, as a therapist, you have a therapist. What caused you to seek help?
Marcus? No.
No, it wasn't me. I didn't do it.
Well, a couple things. So honestly, the greatest gift for me is that I didn't start doing individual therapy until a year and so I've experienced a lot of things, which I think every day makes me a better therapist. And so I teach people these skills every day, right? On how to go about their life. And it would be unfair to say that I can do the same work. Because I've also experienced life and been through hard things, and to try to sit here with you and your stuff and say, I don't understand what it really takes to just be here, talk about things, is part of it. And I knew I've been going to therapy long before I was a therapist, but that's because I want to show up as my best self, and I couldn't do that because I didn't feel like I had the space to talk about the hard things without judgment or biased opinions. Because of course your friends are going to always be on your side, which I do have a good support system, and they will call me out on my crap.
Not me.
He will, definitely.
You never seen this.
But that's what I want. That's important to me.
So how would a person know that they're unwell? Like, would you say that when your daily rituals or your daily routine start getting disturbed, or you start to have different thoughts about life? We cover a lot of this stuff in the military. It's a little bit different because we don't get a lot of people in the military that they make it there. And that's why you see so many issues once a person leaves service. Right? Because they would never admit it because you have fear of losing jobs or losing clearances or whatever. So how would you, if I was a client, how would you know that you're unwell?
So my client base, it's not fair to go off that because they already know what their structure. That's why they seek therapy. In every setting I've worked in, those people have already come because they know that they're unwell. But for general public, people might not realize that they're unwell because their behaviors were normalized probably as children. So if people were going to be out of home, abusive home, if your parents mitigated their troubles with alcohol or drugs, that is normal to you, right? And so then you go on into your everyday life as an adult. Like, yeah, that's just how we cope. That's what we do. And it's usually not until something really bad happens in your life, like legal trouble, or maybe it's just you get in a bad relationship, or you lose somebody you love, and you're not recovering as well as you thought. It could be multiple things. Sometimes it's somebody calling you out, and sometimes it's somebody saying, "Did you try therapy?" Talk to somebody
Somebody
about
wearing
that.
somebody wearing the T-shirt, right?
Yeah.
They're saying, it's important to, if you see somebody acting a little bit different than they normally do, ask them a question. I think that's another issue we may face. That people are scared to confront others if they see a behavior that's out of the norm. I think that's a big step, being able to confront someone if you see that things are different. See that. Even if their lifestyles change, like drastic lifestyle changes. I go out and buy a Lamborghini, you better be worried about it. Right? First of all, I probably hit the lottery and only gave Jake $2,000. And he's looking for me.
Cycle football too.
That's a second.
No Hawkeye
like
shit,
that.
please.
So what?
You still have to check on your happy friends.
You still had to. You got to. I was getting to that. Check on the happy friends
That's
too.
Mark. That's what is his catchphrase.
That's my catchphrase. Make sure you check on the happy people too.
I had a question. Are you always like this nice and patient, calm therapy
No,
sessions,
she's not.
or do you go on full bitch mode sometimes?
Never.
Just because you
Even outside of
calming
therapy.
voice.
Why do you don't get to your clients like when you're holding a conversation with me and you get angry with me? You don't raise your voice at your clients the way you raise your clients at me.
I am.
We're getting her flustered.
First of all, I do not yell at Marcus or get
Oh
angry with him.
my goodness!
She just
You know
does
that's
all
not
look.
true.
Second of I am firm and direct sometimes because sometimes that's what they need. You don't come to therapy for someone to sugarcoat it. I mean, until you don't know the truth because nobody else knows.
So if you have a person that's experiencing mental health issues, what are some things you shouldn't do to cope with it? I mean, I know the obvious answer. I want to hear from a professional.
Like as the client?
As a client, what are some things you should not do to cope with your mental health issues?
Are we stating the obvious? Like don't drink, don't do drugs, don't attempt homicide or
Yeah, and I'm telling you the reason I ask that because alcohol is a coping mechanism for a lot of people. Now it's a temporary solution,
also
right?
a suppressant.
Yeah, it's a temporary solution, help you forget about things in that moment. But then those things resurface, right? But I think so many people probably think that they are right if they're okay for a small amount of time. And I'm no mental health professional, and I don't even sound like it. But I know there have been times where I may have some shit where maybe I'm stressed out at work or something that's getting to me where I want to crack a beer. Just to forget about it in that moment. I understand it's not a healthy coping mechanism, but at the time it's a solution for me to get me to the next point. You understand what I'm saying? That makes sense?
Yes.
It's a stupid fucking way to handle it, but it's just I think people go for that short-term solution, and that's what we do.
Yes, because we live in a world of instant gratification, which is also what makes it hard, right? And that's complex because it's fair for you to go have a drink after a hard day. is it every day that you're doing that? Are we ever addressing what's causing you that? And you might think that that beer is helping, but if you're already low, that beer is not gonna lift you up. But like you said, I'm gonna feel better for the moment, and maybe that's all I need. And maybe I can't do anything about that, like a work situation. Maybe I don't have any control over that.
Yeah, that instant gratification, that's a great point. You know, we want to feel good in the moment, right? That's like if you get a match on a date night. You're like, oh, I feel good about myself, and they turn out to be womp womp.
So the dopamine hits.
Yeah. When you start, how much does serotonin play in mental health? Oh, I'm getting scientific on your ass now, huh? You didn't think I had
Your
this?
homework.
You didn't think I had this in me, huh?
Yes, I did.
No, how much those levels play in it?
That's a huge factor. I mean, that's half the battle. But it's about, are we giving our body the opportunity to produce those things? Am I moving my body? Am I eating food that helps? Am I getting adequate sleep? All those things play a role in that.
Jake, you have another question? I see you got some notes over there.
I mean, the Jip people. Oh, there's Remy. Let's say hi to Remy real quick.
Hi, Remy.
All right, give a little shout out.
Shout out to Ramsey.
It's been a while. Gotta get that kid back on the podcast.
Yes, we do.
Well, okay, I gotta get back on track here. I mean, being a therapist is just good for you. You're a good, kind, patient person. I can't imagine the stuff you hear and how to cope with it, diagnose it, help others along. It takes a special person, a special breed. So, and
That's why every therapist needs a therapist.
yeah.
So, what made you get to that point where you say you needed a therapist?
That was before I was doing therapy, but that was to do my own work because I can't show up as a good therapist if I haven't worked through my own stuff. Because it will get in the way.
So, no certain events or nothing like that?
I do mindfulness, breath work. I do that in the morning before. Well, I do it at work, but I do it before my home.
And you go for a lot of walks too.
Oh
I
yeah.
do sometimes. I do.
You get the vitamin
You'll see
D.
me walking. Yeah.
So, I think the question I want to ask, you know, this is, for a lot of people, this is such a taboo topic. Right? And you think people like with my background, that's taboo, and I'm telling you, like, since about 2020, I've been a diehard advocate of mental health. And it all started when I heard a family member say, after a traumatic event, family event, said that they thought about not being here. That's when I really hit home, like, man, this shit is real. Like, this is really real. Like, you suppress what people are going through for so long, or you downplay what they're going through for so long, because you're not in that person's shoes. It took me a lot of conversations to really understand the effect that mental health illness has on people's daily lives, whether it's anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's suicidal thoughts. You know, like I said in our intro, anxiety is so bad you just don't want to go out there. Like you don't want to tackle it. That is people reality, right? And it took me forever, not only to recognize it, but to understand it. Like, you know, you see so many people that surrounded by beautiful families, have a bunch of money, beautiful homes, beautiful cars, and they just struggle. And I never understood that. I'm like, shit. And they say money don't buy happiness, but I'd rather fucking cry in a Corvette. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And, you know, so
Would you
look
though,
up,
or would you rather drive an old car and be
yeah,
really
and yeah,
happy?
option B. But just before I understood how really important it was. I mean, I spent a period of my life where I was surrounded by it and seeing all the shit that they had. But I don't know if my age was a factor where I didn't understand it, or if my upbringing didn't allow me to understand it, limited exposure to it. Yeah, we get exposed to it in the military all the time. We have all these benefits and stuff. But unfortunately, a lot of times when you go to those briefings, there's so many other things going on that you flush it. And then because we're only surrounded by those people 16 hours a week or 16 hours a month, we don't see them on the daily, it's hard to recognize this. Military suicide rate is astronomical. Right? And it's because we don't recognize the signs. And I'm going to say something that probably go over the wrong way. If it is, I apologize. I used to have the belief that when people committed suicide, that they already had their mind on it. And I don't know if there's anything that people could do to stop it. You know, you and I had how many weeks ago we had a conversation? And I told you you cannot put that blame on yourself. Like 4 or 5 weeks ago? About a month ago? You know, when the situation in the neighborhood hit and he was like, I feel so bad. And I was like, you can't carry that burden. But what do you do when it hit that close line? As a person that just experienced, what do you do when it hit that? How do you do it? Now I'm not talking. Let's not go therapist talk. Let's go
No, I'm not.
Let's go be Miller talk. How do you do? And I'm sorry if I brought up a sore subject, but that's what this episode is about: being vulnerable and being real. How do you deal with it when that happens?
As a therapist,
I say no therapy.
I know,
I'm
but
just kidding.
this is my personal experience.
Right.
As a therapist, it brings up a lot of guilt because, like we talked about, like, what if one conversation could have changed their mind? Or, you know, one good hug. I would say that's a cure. But then you think about it and it's like, so this is an acquaintance. I'm not in their life every day. And even people who you are in their life every day, I'm not telling you, you don't know. Like you said, check on your happy friends. The person that we discuss this about always had a smile, always joking, laughing. And we had hard conversations too, because they were going through their own battle. And we would talk about it. And people will say that people who die by suicide are weak, but honestly, that's not weakness. These people genuinely believe that the world is better without them. It's just not true. They think that they're doing the world a favor.
Like they're a burden, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at right now, like in the public eye, big time. Like the celebrity world is Ben Affleck and J-Lo. They're going through some stuff.
Right.
And I mean, they have got a huge microscope on them right now. And I'm like, I feel so bad for them. I mean, it's just like, okay, reach out, talk to somebody, and try to keep it in-house.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about J-Lo too, and just like the spotlight on her, good, bad, the mental strength she has to have.
Yeah, I'm sure the team has a couple, or every WNBA team must have a couple therapists on staff. Just say, just to say, are you okay? You know, what's going on the court live, the home live? Just kind of making sure you're okay. So,
But we all need that, even if we're not in the spotlights, on the headline news. We all need somebody who says, hey, how you doing?
and you're supposed to see on social media, like Instagram or Facebook, of all these beautiful, gorgeous models. I'm like, are they really living? Or is it just a so?
We'll never know.
So, alrighty. We had some pretty crazy storms this week. Didn't you think so?
Yes, I know.
I was, you know,
Last night, even.
at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, boom, like, oh, here we go again. It's Friday. So what were you doing at 4:30 in the morning Friday?
Yeah, it was
Good.
Alzheimer's.
I was just like, what is going on? But I'm hopefully the people that were affected by the bad weather and the flooding, that they're doing okay, reaching out. But it was crazy. Marcus, what do you think of those storms this week?
People had big
Oh,
trauma. That's devastating.
The people that lost shit, bro.
Oh.
Like, this has been the toughest 5-year stretch
Mm-hmm.
that people have had in a long time. When you go from COVID, let's just talk about that. COVID, derecho, storms on back-to-back nights, that just rip things away.
I mean, I'm watching the news thing, like in Greenfield. I'm like, oh, okay.
God bless those people in Greenfield. God bless those people in White Oak, too.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit closer to home. You know,
I
know
was
some
on
person
San Jose
personally.
today, and I saw, like, I was at my Lucky Stop Scrat party. I drove around San Jose. That water is up. And I'm like, whoa. I was like, all the trees out there.
Yeah, that shit
It
is-
just looks like a lumberyard or something. Not this job. The trees.
Yeah, I mean, lumberyard don't cure my mental health. I'm sorry. That makes it worse. I haven't been in there in ages, but I'm just saying.
No, I was seeing the falling trees down the forest area. I'm like, oh my gosh.
So, as we get close to the end of this, I do this thing every Sunday on Facebook, right? Where I basically ask 3 basic questions. Are you okay? Are you good? Do you need it? And I originally intended to do it one time. And then somebody DM me and said, man, I actually needed that today. So I've been doing it every week for almost 6 years. It's so important to ask people how they do. I never really understood how important it was just saying hi to people. You know, even if you don't want to hear it, probably 40% of those people probably open up and be like, oh man, today is a shitty day. Or, you know what, today is a good day. Even if you didn't even ask, how's your day going? You like, so if you say, what's up? I mean, we see a lot of time here where we are, at the place where we are tonight, Camp Radio. You make so many friends unintentionally in here that, you know, just like, you know, just by saying hi, they're going to tell you the whole life story. But and at that point in time, a person may need that. Right? They may need to hear that. I see Britt walking sometime and I'm like, I wish I had a water balloon. And I would, no, I'm just a water balloon. But then I was like, nah, she's a good friend. I probably shouldn't throw a water balloon.
Get a super soaker.
Oh, the girls got 2.
Oh, I know.
The girls got 2
yeah,
super soakers
great.
now.
Get a super soaker next time.
Yeah.
She's going. Oh my
I
god.
don't want to have to explain that to my parents.
Yeah. Why you look like a wet Labrador? Because my friend Marcus hit me with a water balloon. Or hit me with a super soaker. No, but like just
Trying to make.
just like how important it is to ask people like how they doing, or if they need anything. You know? When I first discovered that things wasn't the way they used to be with me, it's probably 2015. I was already 5 years into the military. Then my father-in-law passed away, and I was like, you know, I grew up in a single-parent household. With my dad, when I was growing up with my dad, and I had a great relationship. But he was like that figure. You know, he passed away. I was like, shit, who do I turn to? Right, and then I struggled for a little bit, got better, and then started leaning on my Uncle Jesse, who's awesome in my life. Big support for me. And then me and Uncle Jesse kicked it. They moved to Florida. They came in the future came back like we were 2 years ago. And then 2020 happened. COVID hit. Right? I'm not hanging out with my friends. I'm not doing anything. Everything shut down. Everything that I find solace in and things that have been fun, I can't do now. Right? So So what do? Get together with the few friends that you can. You know, you have a few beers or whatever. And then my aunt passed away in 2020, in June of 2020. Actually, was on my anniversary. So it's always like something tied to that date. So it's just like, which the happiest day of your life becomes one of the saddest days of your life somewhere down the road. And then that's when I really noticed, I was like, shit, I went through the motions every single day. Right? And then I really noticed, I was like, man, something's not clicking. Like, something's not clicking in my mind, right? And then, but I never saw help. I just went through the motions. Because you guys know me, I'm a person that likes to keep everybody cups full. Right? You know, I mean, that's me.
Your belly's full.
And belly's full. I cook, barbecue, that's my idea of good time, keeping everybody just being around, having that community, being around, spending time with each other, right? And then we started this podcast. That was another thing that kept me going. And then go through the motions, think I'm getting better, right? Communicating, start doing stuff like this, talking about mental health, how important it is, right? And then this year hits, right? Lose my mom. And last week was probably the roughest week that I had since this happened, where I didn't want to talk. I wanted to be alone to figure it out. Since my mom passed, I have started talking to someone. I go do this because it's important for me to be good. Because I have cups to fill. I have kids. I go to therapy. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for setting me right this week. I go to therapy, right? I go a couple times a week, right? And I sit and talk, and it's always like progressive of how I'm doing, what's bothering me, how my last few days, and that helps tremendously. Like, but at the same time, I wonder why did it take me so long to do this? What was I scared of? Because it has been one of the best things that's happened to me. It allows me to keep my cup full to pour into other people's cups. Besides for the last week, you know, where I just had to work through something. It just hit me like, I've been going so much, I really haven't had time to grieve. My brother sent me a picture this morning, and it was my mom and my niece. I wish I would have put it on the pad so I could put it up so people can see it. And it was my niece had to be like 3 years old, and my mom was living in Mississippi at the time, and I came over for like preschool graduation and some shit that they do nowadays, you know. I even saw somebody show up with balloons for the last day of school at elementary school, which is even good. And it just hit me. I am so glad that all our kids, my brother kids, my sister kids, my kids, were able to spend time with my mom and see how awesome she is. Right? Because my grandmother is still around. My mom's mom's still around. My mom's mom's still around. With that being said, I also feel for my grandmother. So when I think about her, she lost 2 kids in 4 years. In a matter of 6 weeks, she lost a kid, a sister, and a brother in 2020. Right? So when I think about how much of things have changed and how it's affecting me, I always ask, what's took me so long to get myself in a better place? And I question, like, how can I feel somebody else coming when my cup's off?
Do you feel better at all?
Oh man,
I mean,
oh yeah.
just kind of.
But I know
relief, getting off your chest.
it's so good. The setup is so good, right? Where if I have a day where I'm not, I can just call him and say, "Hey, can I stop in?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, for sure, stop in." It's a huge. I truly underestimated. Not like I'm gonna be honest. I don't meditate. Because I would start cussing in the middle of meditation because I'm that type of person. So, but meditation is a great tool, don't get me wrong. But it has helped me so much in the last 2 months. More than I could ever believe. Now I've adopted some other strategies too, I mean, to help me, like maybe cussing Brittany out, that relieves a lot of stress and helps me feel better. Picking on Jake about the Chicago Cubs, that made me feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that. But to those people out there that think therapy doesn't work, try it. Give it a chance. So what would you say for people that wants to seek therapy? How do insurance and all that stuff?
So typically they can just go to their insurance website and find providers and network with them. Just call, schedule. You might have some people have like $25 co-pays. Typically people come weekly, especially in the beginning. Telehealth is an option since COVID. Most providers.
So you can help leave your house. You can do it from wherever.
Yeah.
That's a plus.
Yes. For some people.
Jake, you have another question? I see you looking at your notes.
None.
Okay.
I
So,
just want to say this Memorial weekend. Thank you to the veterans that have served us. Thank you, Marcus, and all that are listening or watched this, and the ones that have served, gave their life to the country. So, just want to give a big shout out.
so it's time, as we wrap this thing up, it's time for those famous 3 questions. Are you okay? Are you good? Do you need me? B. Miller, you first, you the guest.
We're on the spot.
Okay. I'm doing good. I had therapy yesterday. No, Friday. So you always feel like a little better. I could probably go weekly because it really like keeps those thoughts at the front of your mind. I'm making some changes. I'm going to start working in our Ames office. So the water balloons might be out. You're not going to see me scoop the balloon. So just like prayers of my transition as well. And I get to help people in Ames. All of those things.
But they can also travel to you, right? If they need to.
Can, yeah. Some of them clients are going to come to Ames. And some will do telehealth now. And that's good. Just they're still showing up for their second
Jake, are you okay? Are you good? Do you need anything besides medicine?
Couldn't need anything. Well, I went to urgent care this morning and got some drugs. So thanks to you don't even point.
Nice.
Yeah, doing good. Just ready for summer. Just kick it off. Have a lot of fun. Make some memories. And
Nice. Me, man. I be honest with y'all. I'm okay, but I don't know if I'm good. Right, because when you're grieving and you don't express it, not only is it affecting you, it's affecting you just every child. I know I never envision living life without parents. I know we all have to go through it, right? That's inevitable. It's going to happen. But at 60 years old, I never thought that it would happen to me, to my parents. But the biggest thing for me is recognizing when I'm not ready, when I'm reaching out. There's so many people that struggle with mental health, and so many people that don't seek help. The message I want to give to people is, there are people with names you will never know. Right? You never guess. You can be surrounded with, even names you know, you can be surrounded by them every single day, and they won't say it. And that's what hurts me the most when I have my days. How many other people that I'm surrounded by, they're doing the same thing I'm doing, not letting know that they need something. I'll proclaim it right here because this is our podcast. Me, Jake, Andy, Seth. I'm Marcus Williams, and I know I have a mental health issues. I can admit this. There are days when I am not okay. And those are the days when I am. Please remember, if you are suffering, or anyone you know is suffering from any kind of mental health illness, there's a speed dial, 988 Suicide and Crisis Hotline. Was established in 2022. Just 3 numbers, man. Call it. Help is right there. It's the World's Drunkest Podcast. I apologize if you missed us doing shots this episode. That's not what this is. Super producer Jake.
Good night.
Our special guest, Miss B. Miller. And I'm your boy,